Hey everybody, welcome back to The Complete Game, episode 88. Eric Lindros. We are 2 days away from Christmas, and a lot of little signings going on. For you Philly fans that want to say that you had a big signing, no, Wilson Contreras. I mean, listen, he's a good player, but he's probably going to be a first baseman. So you got what I think is he's not a cornerstone Alonso 40 home run guy. He's not a batting champion guy. He's a solid big league player, which you love, but it doesn't move the needle for me in the AL East at all. Tristan Cassis, clearly, I'm guessing that I don't know if moving on is the right word because you always have the DH, but I mean, the upside projections for him appear to be things that Boston's not buying into. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll tell you the one that I was most excited, not excited about, but the one that, and let me go back. I want to make sure I get this right. But the Murakami signing, I like. Kind of surprised that the White Sox were the team that did it, given that the White Sox have about 114 holes to fill before they do with the slugger. But I like the thought. I guess I'm becoming a curmudgeon in the sense that I like the thought of baseball getting bigger in markets it's not big in. Chicago's not a small market, but the Asian market in Chicago isn't a thing, and I like the thought that that might be a thing. Because listen, this guy is, well, I mean, let's find a 19-year-old to break, I'm going to say Roger Maris's single season home run record, but I like the signing. If I'm the Phillies, I probably am a little bit more excited about the Adolis Garcia signing than I would be about the Contreras signings, just because I remember the playoff guy a couple years ago who seemed to homer twice every bat when he was with the Rangers, hitting the big dramatic home runs, which means you're not worried about the stage for him. And listen, we're going to talk about WBC because that matters, but I can't get past this without talking about the Mets again. Poor Mets. They signed Semien from the Rangers. They got Semien from the Rangers. They lost Alonso. They all the
Lost
bad
Nimmo.
things that have happened. Yeah, Nimmo. And then they go out and sign Jorge Polanco to fill Pete. And Polanco's a good player, but I don't know. I just feel bad for the Mets because if you go back to June of last year, the Mets were big cat obnoxious, and the collapse was fast, and it was tiring to watch Frank's videos off of Barstool, just crying and pissing and moaning about stuff. And they didn't get Josh Bell, by the way.
Nope. Went to the Minnesota Twins.
But there's a lot, and baseball is always better when both New York teams are good. And it's going to be hard for them to not compete because they've got Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor and all the things that go with that. But
there was one signing I did want to ask you about. Merrill Kelly re-signed with the Diamondbacks. That's kind of is that an awkward one, or do you think that's one they have a conversation about at the deadline where they're like, hey, by the way, you'll be back. Don't sell your house.
Yep. You'll see a lot of, no, it's not even that. It's the team that generally will make a deal trading Merrill Kelly away, knowing how he feels about the club, and like, hey, listen, we're trading you, but we'll be first in line when you hit free agency. We want you to come back, blah blah blah. And so, in a sense, they traded Merrill Kelly, got talent back for him, and then got Merrill Kelly back.
That's so. We were just talking about Barstool oriented. I saw him and Zach Gallen on PMT this past season, and they seemed like a really close duo of guys. So it was shocking when they traded Merrill to me because it was like a month after they were on, and they seemed like they've had the run together to the World Series, and they had a year like this where it's it's tough.
And I would tell you that Arizona is a place that could have done that to me. They could have dealt me away at the 03 deadline. And if I would have become a free agent, they would have been first in line for me to go back to, because I love the owner, I love the team, I love the city. But let's jump over to WBC because you know how I feel about it.
I know how both versions of you feel about it, the player and the.
So let's just talk about the player part of me first. Let's get that out of the way. As a player, I would be on my hands and knees begging to be a part of Team USA
with your Captain America shield.
I would have been on my hands and knees begging to be on that team. As a fan, as on the ownership side, there is not a chance in hell I would ever allow any pitcher I ever cared about to pitch in the WBC. or to go on the end of the season All-Star tour that Major League Baseball makes across the Japan. That nothing, absolutely nothing good will come out of this. Nothing. If you look back on the history of it, the amount of injuries that followed up the WBC, that follow up the WBC, it's rampant. And I've explained it before. There is literally no upside as a fan for your any of your Paul Skeens and Tariq Skubal. Holy crap, would I not want that to happen? And I got to tell you, part of me thinks that Skubal should be thinking ahead here. He's going, he's going to be a free agent, or he's going to get traded, and he's going to get, 8 years, $400 million or whatever it is. There's nothing that the WBC can do but lower the dollars or increase the risk. And I explained it to you, G. I don't know what there's 7 or 8 levels of throwing, right? There's playing catch in the winter. There's getting onto the mound for the first time. There's throwing your first bullpen. There's throwing your first batting practice. There's throwing your first spring training game. There's throwing at the end of spring extending. Then there's opening day. Every one of those levels of play is like on the for those of you that understand the Richter scale for earthquakes, a 5.0 to a 5.1 isn't a 10% increase. It's like a 500-fold increase. That's the way these throwing things do it. So and I'm playing catch is 1, and my big league start in opening day is 10, right? I have to go through those 8 levels in between progressively to increase the intensity and all the things that go with that. You're going from playing catch to your bullpen, which is 2, to batting practice, which is 3, to 10. You're skipping 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I don't care what anybody says. The WBC, we saw it last year, and we've seen it with the 4 Nations. We've seen it with the other stuff in other sports. There's an intensity level that is postseason-esque. Now, I'm going to make an argument that you're going not from level 3 to 10, but there's another jump, right? Regular season opening day is a 10. Postseason is a 15. And you never go to 15 from 4 or 3. But I would argue for some of these nations, and especially for like Japan, the WBC is a World Series-like atmosphere and intensity, and it will be again. And I think it is a monumental risk for just pitchers. Now, you could make an argument that for position players, you're asking a guy like Bryce Harper, who plays at 110 miles an hour, to ramp it up a little bit quicker than he might. He could blow a hand. You don't want that to happen, but obviously that those are things that can happen. But there's just no comparison, and there is 0 upside for pitchers. None. But I 100% get it. They want to be on the team. I mean, come on, dude. Skeens and Skubal, are you kidding me? How fun would that be? But for the Detroit Tigers and the Pittsburgh Pirates, I would go so far as to have in my contracts that once you sign this deal, you are not allowed to participate in the WBC. You are not allowed to participate in the Japan Tour postseason or whatever, because for 40, 50 million a year, 30, 40, 50 million a year, zero extra risk am I going to allow to have happen. And I would tell you that this is just fraught with risk and peril.
I'll say a couple of things on top of that. One, I think that people that just hear that blanket don't understand how much you were not allowed to do as a professional athlete. Like,
right.
In terms of stuff that you'd be like, yeah, but you can, like cross-country ski, which is essentially just walking on skis.
It's in your contract.
Yeah,
There's a large paragraph in your contract that itemizes all those things.
Sort of like
bicycling, motorcycling, sky jumping.
Sort of like DK Metcalf taking a swing at a fan. You lose guaranteed money at a certain point when you breach certain parts of your contract. Assault being one of them.
Flexible Burris shooting himself in the leg.
Very obvious things, and then some very not obvious things. Like I said, like you're saying, WBC, that wouldn't be so out of this world for a team to do. It would be with no precedent set by any other team not doing it yet. But the other part of it too, you were saying fans. I think fans of their respective teams, obviously the Pirates and the Tigers. But for someone like me, that is absolutely more incentive to watch.
Yep.
And if this can help this game grow globally, which it has a bigger advantage to than most.
Totally get it.
Yeah, I mean that's a no-brainer for me.
Totally get it. And the WBC is not going to be. And listen, and I'm not disparaging anybody, but I'm just going to use some big league names, right? The WBC attendance for the Japan versus the United States game with Merrill Kelly going against Bob Yokohama but for Shohei Ohtani against Paul Skeens.
When it was Shohei, Mike Trout with 2 outs,
right?
Like
but
that's.
Here's the question: you can't ever get these numbers. Is Shohei Ohtani or is Paul Skeens not available in August, September, October because he's out for the year? Is that worth the WBC?
Not yet.
Or Treek School? Right. And again, like I said, maybe nothing will happen, but the chances are much higher that they will than they won't. I promise you, it just is. Because you're asking these guys, like I said, it's like trying to shift your car from 2nd to 10th gear. I just don't know any other way to put it.
I think the other disadvantage that baseball has is they're not in the Olympics or something like that, where they have a mirror to the Four Nations.
Well, I got to tell you, if you're baseball and you're trying to reinvent the wheel and draw younger crowds, you look at hockey and go, holy crap, yes. At the All-Star break, you take a 2 week off. You take 2 weeks off. And you do a Four Nations, and all of your pitchers are at their 10th speed. You're not asking them to do anything they haven't already done. Think about this. Would you rather ask Paul Skeens to throw 105 max effort pitches mid-season or in February? Because he's max efforting those pitches no matter how many they are, right? I guess that's the easiest comparison. Would you rather have your guys, your pitchers going, hey, dude, I'm going balls to the wall here after 122 innings, as opposed to going balls to the wall after no innings? Yeah, it's just a risk I can't fathom taking if I'm Tariq Skubal. And again, I'm not criticizing the players because I'd be there. Dude, I want the ball. Dude, give me the red, white, and blue flag on my chest, and I'm starting the first game of the WBC. Rah, rah, Captain America, go, say, can you see? All that stuff. But
I know the least probably of all guy things about cars, but I feel like it's like taking a very nice sports car out in the wrong season and just gunning it down the highway when you haven't driven it in 6 months versus you've been driving it.
I guess the analogy, so let's just say you have this brand new car that's got a totally rebuilt engine, right? Now, do you want to push it to max RPM after 1,000 miles or from the start?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great analogy because that's exactly what's happened. And like I said, no amount of throwing in February gets you ready for the WBC. None. Because it's postseason atmosphere. Well, remember the Ohtani Trout at bat? You don't think Shohei Ohtani was leaving everything on the field? And that's not something you do in spring training. You can't do it. The game just won't draw that out of you because it's spring training. No matter how excited you are, no matter how motivated you are, it just doesn't happen until you get 55,000 asses in the seats and you're on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball or Fox. It's just not regular season baseball.
Another thing that, to your point about the timing of it all, like if WBC is what you want it to be, don't you want to pick back up in the middle of your baseball season? What the are you doing if you have the greatest WBC of all time and then you have a month of spring training? You have no viewership to capitalize on.
Right. And what you did, think about the Four Nations and how many guys. I'll tell you who really blew me away. That I thought became a monster for the fringe hockey fan like me. I say I'm a fringe. I love the sport, but I don't know the sport like you do. But I got to tell you, the Four Nations made me realize what an amazing player Jacob Slavin was.
Well, that's what you're saying about, or you were saying before about the White Sox and not having an age. You get exposed to markets you would otherwise normally never get to see.
Right.
The guys who don't stay up late to watch Shohei Ohtani in the East Coast that will maybe watch the WBC because they're playing against Shohei with the red, white.
Yep.
That is the audience you need to capture and bring with you mid-season and from the All-Star break on during when this break should be.
And remember, in the mid-season, nobody else is playing sports.
Nope. Summer is your time of year.
February, you're coming to Super Bowl.
Exactly.
All the things that go with that.
So again, you're going to be like, instead of the Super Bowl, we have the Red Sox versus Boston College at fake Fenway Park in Florida. Like, come on.
So, all right, let's play a game.
I'm gonna play a game. Oh, I also had a quick trivia question, or just a question in general. Do you know which MLB franchise has the most first overall picks?
Mets?
The Mets are one of 3 teams tied for second. It's the Padres, Mets, and Astros, but the Pirates have 6.
Okay, yeah, they were that bad.
There's
And
I
they
was
screwed up.
shocked how many of these first overall picks were hits for some of these teams too, like household
Yeah.
franchise, if not Hall of Fame names. So, all right, we're gonna play Diamond Dimensions. So we got a couple more for you. Let me get this. All right, I believe this is number 1.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's a cookie cutter.
It's a tough one.
Oh, what league?
It's the red dirt is American League, blue is National League.
Okay, American League. Is that Minnesota?
Nope. Do you want a division?
Yeah.
American League East. We watched this one a little bit this year.
Is that Toronto?
That is the Rogers Center in Toronto.
Yeah, because it's literally, yeah. Oh, another one. Another cookie cutter. Chicago? What division?
This is the American League Central. You're in the right division.
Is that Minnesota?
We had Minnesota last week.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to say probably Cleveland.
This is Kauffman Stadium.
Oh, okay. Love that
Cleveland
place.
has the left field wall.
Yeah. That's Kansas City. Yep.
And it's the last
National
one.
League.
This one, I last week I had to think about it. You have not pitched in this park.
Okay.
But you have been here.
This park. I've been there. I've been to the park. Was that Philadelphia?
That is Citizens Bank Park in Philly.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done.
All right.
All right.
Well,
if you guys are watching this when it came out, Merry Christmas Eve. It is the 24th. We are going to be back. What will that be? The day before New Year's. So,
yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for sticking
Merry
with us through the
Christmas.
entire year.
All right, Bubba. Love you.
All right. Love you too, Dad. I'll see you.
See you tomorrow.